guys, welcome back to my channel. So I don't know why some people like to criticize people that are more accomplished than them in their field. First, it was Lisa Ray on Halle Berry when nobody asked her and she does not even know for sure what she's talking about. Now it is Young Thug and Andre 3000. So if you guys don't know, Young Thug was being interviewed by T.I. on his show Expeditiously, his podcast, and T.I. mentioned how much of an influence Andre was or is on a lot of the rappers that are out here, including Young Thug. And Young Thug got so upset. He acted as if he wasn't upset, that he was just stating his opinion, but he was definitely upset by the comparison. And it is just insane because, first of all, Andre has accomplished things that Young Thug probably will never dream of accomplishing. Young Thug's music is something that you either, to enjoy his music, I feel like you have to be someone who likes to listen to a whiny person whine on and on, because that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like he's just whining about something and I cannot listen to it. So for him to actually have the gall to criticize someone such as Andre that has talents that Young Thug will never ever have ever in life, no matter how long he stays relevant, is insane to me. You know what? I think, okay, so first of all, let me just say what happened, okay? So Young Thug was being interviewed, right, by T.I. So T.I. brings up Andre 3000 and he was really saying a lot of good things about Andre 3000, and I think the respect that was coming across from T.I. towards Andre is what upset Young Thug. It seemed like it rubbed him the wrong way, and suddenly Young Thug is saying things like, I can't rap you 2 Andre 3000 songs. I ain't never paid attention to him, never in my life. So basically he was saying this to say that he was not inspired by Andre, that he did not listen to Andre growing up, so Andre did not inspire his music or his style or anything. And while I don't think that all the new artists were necessarily inspired by the previous artists that were around before them, I think that there is a way to say something without just being bitter about somebody else's success or talent, because I'm yet to see the talent in Young Thug. I don't even know how he got this far. He probably got this far because of his eccentric look and style, and you know, that works for a lot of people. It worked for Lady Gaga, it worked for Nicki Minaj, and you know, when you look a certain way and act differently from everyone else, that tends to make people remember you and, you know, help push you forward. So I don't know if it's style. The other two artists I just mentioned have insane talent, but I don't know what Young Thug has that, you know, gives him the rights to criticize someone like Andre 3000. Andre 3000 is very well respected in the music industry, so I don't know what Young Thug was drinking before this interview. But anyway, Young Thug went on to criticize Andre 3000 while saying more positive things about Elton John, even though the things he said about Elton John is also demeaning. I don't think it was even that positive, but at least he did not have the same kind of like anger towards Elton John as he did towards Andre. So basically he said something. I'm gonna post what I'm explaining right now so that you can read exactly what he said, but he basically, and I'm not using the same words because there's a lot of curse words and I don't curse, so I'm not using the same words. But he basically said something along the lines of Elton John is more of a submissive kind of a person, while Andre 3000 likes people to submit to him. So what is wrong with that? I don't see what's wrong. Like, it's just so crazy. So what is wrong with someone wanting people to submit to him? As long as he's not being mean to other people or being disrespectful the way Young Thug is, I don't see what is wrong with Andre 3000 having a different personality from Elton John. Some people are submissive and just chill. Some people are not. Both types of people are perfectly fine. This has nothing to do with the question they asked him, which is how he feels about how much of an influence Andre is to a lot of rappers. Whether Andre is submissive or not, he still is a big influence to a lot of rappers that are out right now. So I don't know what Young Thug's response even has to do with the question. It just shows that he has his own personal beef with Andre 3000. And he also said that in describing Andre and talking about his opinion of Andre 3000, he keeps making this comparison between Andre and Elton John, which is so weird. I don't even know why he keeps making the comparison, but he said that Elton John was more like a fan of his, and that Elton John was so much of a fan that Young Thug was like, okay, fine, let's do music together. But Andre, on the other hand, was more like Young Thug is his secretary. So basically, Andre was not a fan of his as much as Elton John. And once again, I have to say, what is wrong with that? Not everybody's going to be a fan of his. And if anything, he's the one who's coming across as high and mighty in this case. He's trying to paint Andre 3000 in a very negative light, but he is exhibiting the exact same characteristics that he's trying to paint Andre 3000. Like, come on. Andre is he's in his own league, basically. Young Thug should even be excited and appreciative of the fact that they are making any kind of comparison between him and Andre, because Andre has lyrical abilities that Young Thug will never have. All he can do is whine on a beat, and he calls that rap. And I can barely stand to listen to his music. So I don't know what he's talking about. He feels as though Andre does not respect the new generation of rappers, and he feels belittled by Andre 3000. But here's the thing with people with low self-esteem is this: sometimes the way that they feel and the fact that they feel belittled has nothing to do with anybody else. It's just them and their issues. It's their low self-esteem issues. When you don't have a talent, but your work, your job depends on you having talent, and you have no talent, obviously you're going to feel self-conscious about the fact that there's so many other talented rappers out there and you are not talented. Even if you're successful, even if you're making money, it's going to be that thing. There's going to be that thing in your mind that's always, making you compare yourself to other people, and you cannot help but see how talented people before you and even other rappers around you are. And when you think about the fact that you yourself have no talent, you're going to feel very insecure. So when someone else that is not insecure and is confident in themselves and when other people sing their praises around you, you're not going to like it because you're insecure about your own talent. I think that's what's happening with Young Thug. I personally find Young Thug to be an interesting person to look at, but I don't like to hear him rap. And he's not where he thinks he is. I think someone on his team needs to let him know that for someone like him to even have the opportunity of meeting or talking to Andre 3000 should be considered a privilege, and he needs to jump at the opportunity rather than talking down on someone like Andre 3000, because he is just not where he thinks he is, and quite frankly I don't see him ever getting there. If he had any kind of insane talents hidden, we would have seen it by now, but you know what he's giving us is what he has to offer, and frankly it's not much at all. So he can't be talking down on someone like Andre 3000. Now, I'm not someone who believes that every rapper from before influenced and inspired every rapper that exists after them, because that's not always the case, at least not a direct influence. They may have been influenced indirectly, but not directly. And it is okay to say that I never listened to so-and-so's music, I didn't grow up listening to him, but now that I've heard of him, he's this and that. But you know, you don't have to say that you're inspired by a rapper that did not inspire you. But he doesn't have to be condescending either. He doesn't have to tear down Andre's character. He didn't have to say all those negative things that he said about Andre 3000. It was just not necessary. So I don't know what it is where people just like to attack people that are in their field, that are more successful than they are, as if that's going to help them in any way. It makes no sense, and it's usually unprovoked. That's how you know the insecure people, is that they do a lot of unprovoked attacking, and they go after a person's character, and the person they go after is always someone that's more successful in their field than they are. And it's not gonna help him in any way. That interview did not convince anybody that Andre 3000 is a horrible person. All it did is just show that Young Thug does not know what he's talking about. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. See you in my next one. Bye guys.